Assalamu alaikum. Please introduce yourself.
Walaikum Assalam. My name is Hurab Ismail, and for my A level media studies coursework, I created a crime thriller opening called Unknown Number. The opening follows a teenage girl who begins receiving messages from an unknown number while walking home alone at night. As she realizes that someone is watching her, the tension gradually increases. The opening ends with a news report revealing that the girl has gone missing, while the killer is shown the broadcast and wiping a knife, leaving the audience with a sense of mystery and suspense.
So, how does your product use or challenge conventions and how does it represent social groups or issues?
Okay, so as my chosen genre was a crime thriller, I wanted to use conventions that would immediately create suspense, mystery, tension for the audience. So, like one of the main convention that I used was low key lighting. Throughout the opening, I used dark lighting and limited light source because crime thrillers often rely on shadows and darkness to create, a fear and uncertainty. I particularly use shadows during the stalking scenes because I wanted audience to constantly question what might be hidden within the frame. Then I also focused heavily on camera work. I used pan movements, mid-angle shots, and close-up shots of the protagonist's facial expressions. These close-ups were important because they allowed the audiences to connect emotionally with her fear and anxiety rather than just observing the situation from a distance. The pan movements also helped build suspense because they slowly revealed the environment and made viewers feel as though they were searching for danger alongside the character. Another technique I used was handheld camera work. While most of the opening was filmed using a gimbal to create smooth movement, I intentionally switched to handheld shots once the character realized he was being followed. The slight instability of these shots reflects her panic and emotional distress. This technique is commonly used within crime and psychological thrillers because it creates a strong sense of realism and places the audience directly within the character's experience. Then editing was also an important part of creating suspense. Instead of relying on very fast jump cuts, I used slower fade-ins and fade-outs into black screens. I wanted the tension to build gradually and feel more psychological rather than that overly dramatic. I think this created a more unsettling atmosphere throughout the opening sequence. Then the sound design was equally important. I used a non-diegetic sound, specifically a faint heartbeat-like effect that gradually increased in intensity as the danger escalated. This overall helped the audience experience the character growing anxiety and enhanced overall suspense of the scene. While it came to costume and makeup, I intentionally chose a realistic approach. The protagonist wears everyday clothing and natural makeup because I wanted her to represent an ordinary teenage girl. This makes the storyline feel more believable and relatable, particularly to for younger audiences. Then, in terms of representation, my opening focuses primarily on young women and the fear many experience when traveling alone at night. Although the story itself is fictional, but the issue that it explores is very real. In particular, I wanted to highlight concerns surrounding women's safety and vulnerability in public spaces. I felt that audiences between ages of 15 and 26 would be able to relate most strongly to the protagonist, as this is often the stage in life where young women begin traveling independently. They start attending universities and spending more time outside their homes. Then I also both used and challenged genre conventions. I used traditional crime thriller elements such as darkness, mystery, suspense, and psychological tension. However, I challenge some conventions by focusing on realism rather than exaggerated violence or stereotypical portrayals of female victims. Instead of cutting fear through graphic scenes, I wanted the fear to come from a realistic situation that many people would imagine happening in everyday life. Then also I was inspired by modern crime thriller films and streaming series that often use technology as a source of suspense. Features such as anonymous messages, mobile phones, and digital stalking are increasingly common in contemporary thrillers. So I want to incorporate those elements into my offering while keeping the narrative grounded and believable. So overall, my aim was not only to create suspense and entertainment, but also to reflect a real social issue surrounding women's safety, particularly the fear many women experience when walking alone at night. Thank you.